Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back. My name is Chris Olivier and this is my channel Best Day Ever Today. On this channel today we talk about 5 do's and 5 don'ts when you find out that your child is using drugs or abusing alcohol. Okay, so the question I get asked most often in the work that I do in my practice as well as at clinics is, what do I do when I find out? So it would be a parent, distressed parent, focused. So a distressed parent that contacts me and says, Chris, I've just found out that my child has been using substances or is drinking heavily and I'm not sure what to do. Understandably distressed because addiction is all over the news and we hear about it in the school. In fact, think about it this way. Considering that 60% of the children by grade 10 have experienced or experimented with some sort of substance or some sort of illicit drug, why are we not looking at this thing as an epidemic? So I'd get the call and the parent would say, Chris, I've just found out that my child is using a substance of sorts, and there would be absolute understandable panic and fear in their voices. What I thought I'd do today in our second vlog is I'd bring the 5 do's and the 5 don'ts of how to proceed with this problem. The first thing that I usually say is, well done, you've contacted somebody that can help you from a professional perspective. There's one thing I'd like you to take from today is that this thing, substance abuse and addiction, it's bigger than you and I. If we think that we can deal with it, and if we think that our way is the way of fixing something that really and truly needs specialized intervention, we're in for a very bad and a very sad outcome. It is very, very rare that a child uses a substance, the parent has an immediate intervention, and it works out well. It is truly rare. It certainly is not worth taking the gamble. So let's get right into it. The first big don't in an intervention, or when you found out that your child has been using cocaine or ecstasy or cannabis or some illicit, is not to reason with someone who is high or who is drunk. There is no outcome that could come from this situation that could possibly allow the child to gain insight into what's going on and to put them in a state of being reflective as to what they've done, what the consequences are. It will only build resistance. So to confront somebody who's been using and who is high cannot have a good outcome. They can't think straight, they can't reason, they can't answer our questions, they'll be evasive, most likely lie. The only thing they'd want to do is to, as quickly as possible, get the hell out of the situation. So they'll be avoidant. It's not going to go anywhere. So that was rule number 1. Do not reason or try and speak to somebody who is high or who is drunk. Number 2, don't threaten or scare. In the previous vlog, you remember me talking about fear and how fear initially might be enough to stop us from using substances or to start thinking of living differently. The truth is that fear doesn't keep us sober. It doesn't keep us clean. Think of it this way. Drug addiction or substance abuse is a scary affair. People die from it. Thousands of people die from it every year. The statistics are heavily stacked against somebody who has fallen into addiction to come out of it. The truth is that if fear worked, there wouldn't be addiction because it is so frightening and so scary. So trying to scare your child or trying to force them or trying to threaten them into stopping or considering or doing things differently does not work. It might scare them for a while and they might stop for a while, but the long-term prognosis is not good. Do not threaten, do not scare. You will only alienate your child. 3, do not attack your child's dignity and do not make them believe or give them any reason to think that they're bad people. One of the core beliefs of somebody who's stuck in addiction is that they're basically a bad person. The thinking goes something along the lines of, well, I'm basically a bad person, therefore I do not deserve the attention and love of the people, therefore my needs or people cannot meet my needs, and the only way I can have my needs met is by getting high or by using substances. So do not feed into the core beliefs of somebody who falls into addiction, which is that I'm basically a bad person. Do not villainize your child. 4, please do not make an assumption that your intuitive response is the right response, or make an assumption that highly effective ways of having dealt with life's problems in other areas, and no doubt we have done that, we have managed to do that we can apply those rules in an area as specialized as substance abuse or as addiction. And intervention when it comes to substance abuse or addiction, or using an illicit substance, or abusing a prescribed medication, or abusing alcohol, it's a specialized field. So often, sadly, I have seen parents with the best intentions, of course, they love their child, but fearful that this thing will escape them and escalate out of control and do exactly the thing that feeds into the escalation, which is to make an assumption that traditional ways of dealing with crises or problems will solve this problem too. It will not. Please, the number one reason why people get clean, number one, is they ask for help. Please ask for help. Number 5 in the don'ts. Do not suggest a consequence somewhere along the lines of, you do this again, I will take you out of school. If you do this again, I will take away your car. If you do this again, I will take you out of university. If you do this again, I will take away your cell phone. Do not suggest a consequence which you are not prepared to follow through on. The only thing it'll do is to dilute any boundaries that you may lay down later. The young adult will stop to take you seriously and will continue to do, because we aren't following through with our boundaries or with whatever it is that we lay down. So again, I go back to what I said previously, try and get some help in what works in terms of boundaries and what does not work, so that when we put on the boundaries, they're effective and we're sure that they work and we're sure that we can actually go through with them. Okay, that takes care of the 5 don'ts. Let's move right on to the 5 do's. 1. Do connect with your child as a capable young person. Our children, young adults, are far more capable than we often give them credit for. With the right kind of communication, with the right sort of help, they come to the right insights a lot quicker than we think they can. Do not make an assumption that your child is not capable. They are capable, but they need the awareness, and that is where we come in. And that is where our ability to provide them with the help that they need will come in, is to help them to gain awareness around what they're doing. Number 2, address the behavior. Do not attack the child. Do not break the child. Do not, as we said earlier on, tell the child or make the child believe that they're a bad person. So look at the behavior, and with the child, identify the behavior and try and work with the child towards seeing that the consequences of their actions are far-reaching or could potentially become far-reaching. Number 3, love your child. We're in this together. We want a long-term relationship. So it is so sad to see how an approach can sink a relationship between a parent and child, and so much damage later in time could have been prevented by doing something differently. And when I mean love the child, is make the child believe that we're in this together, that we're in the same side. The worst possible scenario to get into is a you versus me situation. That is destructive. There can be no possible good outcome. It creates a lot of resistance and usually leads to the child going further down the road of substance abuse. Number 4, offer support and access to help. Be honest with your child. Tell the child that I'm not sure what to do, that I'm scared, that I feel anxious about what's going on, that I really want you to find what it is that you need, or to identify what it is that you don't have, to try and understand why it is that you're abusing substances. It's okay to tell our children, I don't know how to deal with this. In fact, it opens the door to be able to say, I'm not sure what to do, why don't we go and see somebody together? And then I'll leave you with that person, you guys can figure out what's going on. And at the same time, to tell the child that you're willing to educate yourself and inform yourself as to how to deal with this in the future. And then finally, 5 is prepare yourself. What's the content going to be? What are we going to talk about? Don't go in blind and open up a conversation and a whole can of worms for which you're not prepared. So make sure that the content that you bring to the discussion is valid and relevant. Our children are usually quite well informed with regards to substances. To go in there with threats or with untruths will only put you in a situation where you lose your credibility. So inform yourself and be ready with what you want to share and discuss with your child. Okay, 5 do's and 5 don'ts. Don't be afraid to speak to your child. Do not be afraid to ask for help. Please, if you have any questions about this, put them in the comment section below. If you're enjoying this platform and you feel that it's helpful and informative, please hit the like button. If you feel that there's anything else that you'd like to ask more about or would like more information in, put it in the comment section below too, and subscribe to get notifications of any new discussions that might be happening. So thank you for joining me, thank you for listening, see ya. I'm back. Before I forget, last week I made reference to the 3 aspects that will help a person to get through your addiction, which was love, meaning and purpose. There's this book that I think is a very good read that will help anyone struggling with almost anything. If you're struggling with something, it's extremely useful.